So, John, if you could come up with a soundtrack for the next Zach Braff film, what songs would you pick?
I think I would populate it entirely with the hits of Bewitched. Indeed. Maybe throw in some Billy Piper as well, some Cleopatra, just all stuff I think he'd really appreciate.
I can see that. I could see him dancing to it.
Yeah. You fight like me dad.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how high could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome, everybody, to Beyond the Box Set, a podcast where we pitch sequels, prequels, and spin-offs to films that don't have any. I'm Harry, and joining me as always is John.
Hello.
And it's a guest episode this week. Louise Ball, you've brought us Garden State. Hello.
Hello, I'm sorry about that.
Well, let's not start on a low. Tell us, Louise, why did you choose the film Garden State?
Because when we were talking about Beyond the Box Set and what was funny about Beyond the Box Set, I said to you that the Love Actually episode was really funny because you absolutely hated it, and
True.
Harry is really rather fond of it. So I don't know how either of you feel about this film, but spoiler alert, I'm not a big fan, so yeah, that's why I chose it.
Okay. Well, I'd like to get Harry's opinion first, actually, because I feel like you and me do come at this film with a little bit of baggage, whereas I have no idea how Harry feels about this film. So, Harry, how did you find Garden State?
Well, I really enjoyed it.
Okay. That's okay.
No, it's perfectly fine. I just...
What?
Please explain how.
I really like Zach Braff. Sorry?
Well, you're a big Scrubs fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Don't you find his weird lack of emotion? Like it's like
In this film
overacted.
In this film particularly, yes. It was a little weird how little emotion there was.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's trying to be really deep and meaningful, but it never gets to that point because he's doing this like he's trying a Ryan Gosling middle distance stare, but he doesn't quite have that gravitas, unfortunately. So
I felt like he was trying super hard to not be JD from Scrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, almost like JD from Scrubs was like inside of him, begging to come out like one of his characters, but it was like suppressed.
One of my main problems with the film was that there was just so little emotional range from him in it. I saw like, he just spends the entire film with one single expression on his face, and it's really hard to root for him or to feel anything for him because he's just not giving you anything.
We have this 2 or 3 times in the film where, and obviously it's an effect that they're going for, but the other people in the scene are looking in on him looking out.
Yeah.
Like him doing nothing. Which is just really strange. Like at the party, it's just really nothingy. Nothing really happens. There's no emotion. Like obviously it's about his like lack of emotional connection because he's always been on like mind altering psychiatric drugs. But like it just goes too far into the realm of emotionless for me. And even like when he starts to talk about his emotions, it becomes really like convoluted.
Well, let's start with a little plot summary. So this film obviously stars Zach Braff, who also wrote and directed it, and he plays a character called Andrew Largeman.
Yeah.
And he's a struggling actor in LA who finds out at the beginning of the film that his mother has passed away. So he comes back to his old hometown for her funeral. He's kind of estranged from his father, and then the film just kind of follows him as he meets up with some old friends. He encounters a quirky girl played by Natalie Portman, who he obviously falls in love with, and then the film just kind of follows their romance.
Tryst.
Yeah. I mean, really not a lot happens in this film. That is
No.
very much like it's not very plot heavy.
I mean, even the end it's just simply he gets off the plane and goes back to her, and that's it.
Yeah, I can't see any. I don't know if you'd laugh for the same reason. Any kind of will when they get off the plane immediately makes me think of Friends. It's like I got off the plane. Like
Yeah. And the poodle's called Petra.
Sure.
Nice,
So Sylvia sings at her own pet poodle's funeral, and everyone stands around and is like, oh yeah, she's such a good poodle, we loved her.
What does she sing?
She sings the Pet Shop Boys.
Great, yeah. You were always on my mind.
You were always on my mind.
Perfect. How much is that dog in the window?
I've not really got much more to say. So there's various pet funerals. You know, the millionaire has to, I don't know, his Sphinx cat dies under mysterious circumstances.
This seems like a lot of animals dying at once. Is there something?
Wow, girl,
Oh,
I'm just about to get there. So Kenny the cop comes to investigate them because all these animals are dying in really mysterious circumstances. So Bambi the boa had taken the marijuana. Sylvia's pet poodle Petra had been smothered by a giant fur coat, actually, and various other things. And Kenny arrests both Sam and Andrew because they think that they're killing the animals and then having funerals for them, and they're killing them at the pet cemetery before their funerals. And they're both like, no, how could it be us? We love animals. And then it goes back to Sam's family home where there's like 10 million dead animals that all died really quickly under sort of like animal cruelty circumstances. And then like it struggles to make itself funny after that, and then it just ends.
Hard to find comedy after that.
I tried.
No, that's good. Yeah, no. I feel like that could. Are you done? Yeah, I feel like that could almost happen parallel to mine, because obviously mine was about the animal cruelty ring. So it's like, yeah, it's like they could happen in the same universe. I kind of got a 6 Feet Under vibe from that. Did you watch that show?
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely was a bit of an influence of that.
Yeah, like owning a funeral home, and also the character.
They were like, so my idea is that they'd be like kind of like funny to the people that were coming into the shop, and then like downstairs it'd be like they'd be making fun of the pets.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
like their names and stuff like them being crude.
Yeah. Well, the main character in that, Nate, the character played by Peter Krause, is like a real insufferable dick. So he is kind of a Zach Braffy type in that way. So, yeah, I can see that. So it might work as a TV show, like a dark comedy, like an Alan Ball kind of vibe. Yeah. Cool. I like it. So, Garden State 2, Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Very good. Harry, over to you.
All right. Okay. So mine. I'm gonna let you guess what it is that I'm doing when I.
Oh, it's one of these.
It's one of these. Oh, it's always fun. It's always fun.
Okay.
So it's gonna be the same cast.
Okay.
Everybody's back. The whole gang.
Playing the same characters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Set about a year later, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Everybody's trying to go about their lives. Sam and Andrew, they're still going strong as a couple. They're not moved in yet, but they're both living with their parents.
She'd have to kick out her teddies first.
Oh, did she have a favourite rag or something?
Oh yeah.
She did.
Ugh.
Fluffy or whatever. Oh god, give me strength.
Get lost. Anyway, so one day their best friend Mark, saying that they're all still good friends, the three of them for some reason, he goes missing.
Okay.
But with no trace. But as Mark is a grown adult, people don't really care because
not even his mum?
maybe his mum's probably a bit distraught. Oh, whatever. Well, so are Sam and Andrew, because he's the person that sort of binds them together, those two as a couple. Yeah. Sam always had a sort of special connection with him, which we're actually shown with her reading a love letter from him, which Andrew doesn't know about.
Oh, really? Okay. So were they cheating, or was it just that they had a secret crush on each other? And it was
just a secret crush. I don't think they were actually cheating, but just like maybe. And as she's reading it, she says out loud, "Oh God, just give me a sign that he's okay." And at that moment, all the photos on her mantelpiece just fall over.
Okay.
So yeah. Now cut to Andrew. Well, he's got something going on where in his basement he's just found that a 12-year-old girl has just turned up.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
Do you know what I'm doing yet? I'm doing Stranger Things.
Oh right, okay, so we already.
I feel like this might be becoming something of a Truman Show-esque crutch for you.
What?
You've done this a lot.
Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Have I?
Actually, maybe we've both done Stranger Things.
What have I done Stranger Things before?
Krampus.
Oh, that fitted really well there.
Yeah. I'm not saying it didn't. So did all my Truman Show ones. Just... Continue. I'll let it slide.
All right, well, I won't do this again then. Yeah, so she turns up and he tries to call child services to report a missing child.
Is this child going to be played by Millie Bobby Brown? Or...
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
No reason why not. Yeah. But she keeps making the phone hang up just by blinking at it whenever he tries to call. So
she's got all the psychic powers. So it is basically 11.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, sure.
I'll refer to her as Elle from now on.
Sure, yeah.
So he keeps her a secret as she kind of requests. She writes down that she escaped from a building and draws a picture of the building, which Andrew then goes searching for. He finds a science lab just outside of town, which looks identical to this building.
Is this creative in any way? Sorry.
Thanks, Louise.
I'm like not being shady, but
okay. Wait, hold all questions till the end, please.
Okay.
To be fair, if you guys hadn't seen Very Bad Things, you would have ended mine within 5 minutes. I literally beat for beat just stole Very Bad Things.
Really?
So, yeah. So you're not alone, but continue.
This was a difficult film to try.
It really is. This is a really hard film to see.
Pet Cemetery 2 sounds like
you have had the most crazy ones, but it's early days. I want to see where this goes. So.
Yeah. So Andrew goes and searches this building, finds it, and sneaks his way in through the sewer. As in Stranger Things, there's a big fence with guards and everything. Okay, now cut back to Sam, where she has established basic communication with Mark, and I'm now going to try and recreate the scene with Winona Ryder screaming at fairy lights.
Oh, I see. Okay, so he's become Will. See, this is something I feel Natalie Portman can do.
Yes, so I would now like to have a scene where instead of using fairy lights to communicate with Mark, she is using hamsters.
Oh, okay. What, dead hamsters?
Oh,
They're not dead.
she can't keep them alive. They've got to be dead.
It's just which tunnels they go through. They run through. So if they run through left or right, it means yes or no. So she can ask questions and he can answer.
I like that. What I like even better, I've got a mental image in my head of like a bunch of hamsters all like together as like a little choir, just like blinking in unison or something.
And Natalie Portman just like, what does this mean?
Yeah, squeak once for yes, twice for no. Yeah.
So that's the sort of thing I'm going for
Okay,
here.
I like it. Yeah.
And with this weird yes-no conversation, she works out that he is in the infinite ravine below the town.
Oh, okay, cool.
The infinite abyss?
The infinite abyss.
Infinite abyss.
Good look at it.
Ravine. All right. Now we're going to cut to Andrew again, who's gone to the science lab. He's in, and he's put on a science coat to look the part so people don't go like, who's this?
It's that easy.
Yeah. It's a film. People can get away with this in films. He has a look around and finds a room with a view into a secure room where people are trying to knock through a wall. Through the cracks, you can see a weird, gooey, rooty space. And in the air is what looks like a lot of heavy pollen. The whole room, and especially the wall, look alive, for lack of a better word. And at this point, somebody comes up to him and asks, hey, who are you? What are you doing here? Have you got clearance? And so he makes up some excuse about being new and getting lost or something and runs away.
Sure.
When he gets outside, exiting through the sewer, he then finds a trail of all these weird roots things.
Oh, okay. So again, we're talking the Stranger Things tree kind of thing. Yeah, okay.
And so he follows that, which leads him to the infinite abyss.
Right, okay.
And he's like, oh, here again. So he's outside that boat with those two
The
caravans
Ark,
living in it.
yeah,
the
yeah.
Ark, whatever.
Yeah.
So he goes and knocks on the door just saying, hi, I've just been led here. And he finds that Sam is already there.
Okay.
And so they have a bit of a conversation with the two people living there.
Is Sam there under duress, or is he just there happily hanging out?
Sam is Natalie Portman.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay. I thought you meant Peter Sarsgaard. Okay, so she's already found the same...
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So there's still no sign of Peter Sarsgaard?
No.
Okay, right. I got confused.
They have a conversation with the two people who lived there.
Yeah.
And they say that they took Mark down into the abyss to explore it.
Okay.
Down there they found several monsters and he was taken. They didn't have time to rescue him. They just managed to make it out with their lives.
And they've just been sitting on this information ever since?
Well, the company who run the lab have been threatening them, saying they can't release this information about what's down there at all.
Okay.
Because obviously that's what they're doing science about. I don't know.
Sure.
Whatever. Vague science. So they decide to mount a mission to rescue him.
It's the Russians. It's always the Russians.
It'll be the Russians, yeah, of course. They mount a mission to rescue him. The experience of the two people that live in the boat, they think they can do it. So Sam, Natalie Portman, goes home and it turns out in her basement she has essentially a whole armoury full of weapons.
Oh, of course she does. She seems like the type.
I know. Yeah.
Next to all the dead pets.
Yeah.
Yes. not connected.
No.
What are you talking about? So she picks up loads of weapons. Zach Braff goes back and...
Can she weaponise the hamsters?
Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking.
I want to see hamsters in like chainmail tiny little guns.
Stuart Little who?
Yeah, God.
And Zach Braff goes home and picks up Elle. Just
Sure.
like, you look like you might be handy. You got telekinesis and shit. I don't know.
Sure.
You look like you might be.
Go on, Harry.
So then they go into the infinite void and they abseil down into the darkness. It's so dark down there they can't see a thing. Turn on torches, but they still can't see anything. Luckily, the people who live in the boat, do they have names, by the way?
I could look it up.
The boaters.
Hippie
The boaters,
1 and
yeah.
Hippie 2.
Hippie 1 and Hippie 2. Well, Hippie number 2 has a little device that works as a sonar, so it essentially shows them a map. And it looks like they're at the start of a tunnel, so they follow this tunnel. Along the way, they keep coming across different kinds of monsters that look like kids have drawn them.
Sure.
Sort of thing
yeah.
you see in Stranger Things.
Yeah, okay.
Each one brings a different battle, and everybody else has their turn.
Okay.
Maybe the first one, the hamsters have a go, and they...
Oh my god.
I feel like instead of... Is there going to be a scene where... You know how there's the scene in the original where it's Will drawing the... In Stranger Things 2, Will draws the monsters, doesn't he? Maybe instead of Sam should be drawing them because she's such a child woman. Like,
okay, yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Anyway, go on.
They battle through all the different monsters and eventually come to one giant, massive monster.
Okay.
Who seems to be at the end of this massive cave, behind which they see Mark is sort of strung up on the wall.
Okay.
So like, okay, this is it. This is the boss battle. It's pretty much a video game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They all battle. All the hamsters die quite quickly.
Oh no.
Because they've only actually got tiny little guns.
True.
They don't really
We're
do
only
anything.
going to die at Sam's cruel hand. So,
Maybe one of the hamsters can deliver like a rousing Bravehearty speech. If we're gonna die, let's die for something real.
We're not going to let that infantile bitch kill us. We want to be killed by monsters.
No.
Hippie number 1 dies unceremoniously.
No, no.
Hippie number
This
2
is
dies
the
sort of.
abyss.
Hippie number 2 in anger goes and attacks the big monster by themselves, and they die as well.
Okay, it's getting a bit Shaun of the Dead now. Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you? The abyss is our marriage.
Something else happens that means that Zach Braff loses an arm.
Okay.
By
I'd
the
like
way,
to see
he
that.
is a massive coward in these fights.
Okay, yeah.
He's the guy right at the back. Oh, I'll take the behind. I'll look out for anybody else. Which feels like his sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
The battle concludes with Elle using all her power to destroy the monster and herself at the same time.
Okay.
Andrew and Sam break Mark free, go back to the start, climb up. They get out and they stand on a truck and they all just scream into the darkness.
Okay.
And that's the end of the film.
Oh, nice. I mean, Louise is right. That was just Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But it fits. It fits. So, yeah.
So I've yet to do the Truman Show episode. I'm catching up on Beyond the Box Set. So is this something that you guys do fairly regularly?
It's not
then?
just
Like
the
rip
Truman
off
Show episode.
something?
It's normally
I'm
when
disappointed.
it's normally when John's writing an idea last minute, he'll write it and then midway through, oh twist, the whole thing's a TV show.
Yeah.
Which he has done on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Oh,
He did it twice in a row.
how
at one point.
disappointing! I'm usually very impressed by John's sequels.
Well, we can't hit. It can't be 100% strike rate. Sometimes, we'll have our off weeks. Well,
I
sometimes-
think it reflects on the quality of film that you're doing.
Yeah, that's sometimes the case.
If
Yeah.
it's a better, more interesting film, it's easier to...
Yeah.
However, I think I've got a call on line 2 about Pet Sematary 2 right now. So.
Yeah, I can see that getting made. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it, because the characters are just fundamentally not very interesting, so you don't really know where to go with them. So,
Yeah, definitely. It's
So you
definitely
guys
gotta be
wrote them
like
out and I just went somewhere else.
It's got to be a hodgepodge kind of vibe, hasn't it? Yeah.
Well, should we see if our listeners did any better?
Please.
Let's see.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Okay. The Contrarians podcast, at Ovnio, at OVNIO, their idea was, a cutesy game of tickling goes horribly wrong when Zach Braff murders Natalie Portman. Turns out he was prescribed those meds for a reason.
Yeah, oh man.
Remember that where he does that whole
good.
speech? Yeah, that's good, because that whole speech where he accidentally killed his mum. We only have his word for that,
Yeah, and the freaky I've got no feelings.
Yeah. Watch it, Natalie.
Nice, very good.
So the movie is about him on the run from the cops. It's called Beyond the Garden State.
Oh, nice.
Blokebusters, theirs is called Nanny State. And Zach Braff and Natalie Portman have kids and hire a nanny. Possibly it's JD. Possibly Zach Braff's playing 2 roles and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh my god, I love it already.
Said nanny ends up taking care of them instead because of all their neuroses. And by the end, the nanny leaves and they've learnt nothing. And one of them has an affair because drama.
Good.
Yeah. That's gone down well.
I feel really shit about Pet Sematary 2 now.
Oh No Lit Class, at Oh No Lit Class, their idea was an hour and a half of me chasing after a frightened Zach Braff with a rolled up newspaper, screaming, bad Braff, very bad, do better, arsehole.
10 out of 10, yeah.
Okay.
I think we all felt like that.
Definitely,
I really relate to that sequel.
Matt German Lawty says, just 90 minutes of Natalie Portman making gibberish mouth sounds. It's basically just the film, really. Martin McFile says, directed by David Lynch, the walls wear people as shirts. Music still by the Shins. Matt Hatfield Teff says, opening credits, 3 coffins. Someone says, I can't believe they all fell into that pit at the same time. End credits. Okay. Mike Carey says, hear me out on this. Natalie Portman's character decides to get really into ballet.
Oh. Well, I nearly had her coming back as a ice skater, actually, and doing Black Swan.
Yeah.
But then I thought, no, Pet Sematary 2 is better.
Yeah, you made the right choice, but I can see where they were going with that. Joshua Noman Mutascio, I apologise if that was mispronounced. Garden State 2049. Ryan Gosling travels back to the year 2002 and brutally assassinates Zach Braff before he can complete his debut film. We never have to see it, and the phrase Manic Pixie Dream Girl is never coined.
Yay! Ryan Gosling, what a hero!
Vincent DePaul, the first frames of the film and Zach Braff getting shot The remaining frames of the wall where he was standing.
There's definitely a
There's a
reoccurring
real-
theme
Bloody
here.
hell.
Like people
And
just-
I would like to say I 100% follow the
You support,
listeners.
you endorse this, yeah.
John, can I make a request that we don't tag Zach Braff in any of our marketing?
That's
on this?
fair. I think that's fair.
I don't
yeah.
think he'd appreciate this episode.
No, you're right. Yeah, we're not in the business of bullying celebrities.
I'd love it if he accidentally heard it and was like, "You guys, you're right. It wasn't my best work." Like,
I'm sure.
Please
he's
all
like-
watch Wish You Were Here.
Yeah. Ooh. Gina Radcliffe says, Garden State 2. Zach Braff realises that it's unreasonable and unhealthy to base all of your happiness in a romantic relationship. Goes back into therapy and takes medication to stabilise the emotional issues he clearly has, even though his dad told him he was fine.
Yes.
They said, oh, sorry, did you want something funny? Thank you, Gina.
it's true though.
Yeah. Brian Vaughn says, Garden State 2. 2 hours of Zach Braff gardening.
I've been meaning to ask, why is it called Garden State?
Is that? I guess that's
It's going to be
where
something to do with Jersey.
it must be
or
where they're set. It must be
something.
called the Garden State. I don't know. Yeah.
What?
Americans, let us know. Listeners, let us know. Yeah.
It will. Be, I
It'll be
meant
the-
to look that up, but yes,
Yeah.
you know.
But I didn't feel like this film had a particular sense of place.
No, it
There was
didn't.
no point. You're like, oh, that's there. Like, even though we're not Americans, you normally like if it's going to be somewhere well known, you'd have some kind of. Yeah, it could have been anywhere. Most of it was in, apart from the Abyss, which I'm guessing isn't real. It was all indoors anyway. So
Yeah.
weird. Yeah. Weird title. Weird title. Yeah. Tara Kraft said, "I don't have a joke. I just wanted to share that I once went on a date with a guy who insisted on showing me this movie because it was super important to him and he loved it."
Oh God, honey.
I don't think they got to
My
stay together.
thoughts are with you, and I'm sure you didn't go on the second date.
Emphasis
Please
on the
tell me
word
you didn't.
once went
Well,
on the
yeah, I
date
think
with
the
this
word
guy.
once is key there. Yeah.
And you can just tell that he wanted to go on a second date, but then he was like, "Oh, but I've got some issues that I need to sort out within myself first." 'Cause, yeah.
Dennis Fanning said, "Garden State Episode 2, Attack of the Zack."
I think he's attacked enough at this
Yeah,
point.
he is. Obviously, if he's listening to this, he's feeling very attacked. Sorry, Zach. An attempt on Natalie Portman's life spurs a stupid mystery that becomes a stupider romance that ends in a battle that's too dumb for words. So I'm guessing that's a Star Wars thing. Lance Woodward just said, "Enemy of the Garden State."
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Nikki Busky. This I liked. This actually, if you were going to make a genuine sequel to this film, I think this would be a good way to do it and to redeem. So Nikki Busky says, "It's 10 years later. They've broken up. They're both in their mid-30s doing normal adult things, and they run into each other in the grocery store.
Okay, yeah.
And they're blasted with embarrassment at the memories of how earnest and try-hard quirker they used to be when they were in their early 20s. And they reconnect. And I think that's nice. I like that." And finally, Joe Herman says, "Garden State 2. Natalie Portman realises that the Shins were just okay."
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll be honest, I've never heard of the Shins before this film.
Oh,
but
they
did
are really
did they change your
good.
life though? Their music will change your life, Harry. So
I did find that I
I'll give them a
couldn't
try.
remember the lyrics, so we were watching the film and I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, I have this album," like trying to show off to John, and then I was like, because I just couldn't remember any of the lyrics. So, it can't be that good.
Zach Braff actually won a Grammy for the soundtrack of this film.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd put that solely down to the ending of it with Imogen Heap, because that is the best bit of the film. Because when I hear that like reverb of do 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 do, I was like, "Oh god, it's actually going to end."
Yeah.
To clarify, you can win a Grammy just by putting some good songs together that
Apparently
you
so.
had no hand in writing.
I'm sure didn't Breakback Mountain win for the...
Yeah, I don't know if that went to Ang Lee or not though. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how that worked, but yeah, it must just be best soundtrack. So yeah, but yeah, he didn't
just
write
picking,
anything.
just picking good
Yeah,
songs.
best mixtape, best taste in music. Yeah,
Weird.
Yeah, very weird. I meant to say earlier, I really wanted to, because the music was so heavy-handed in this. I wanted someone to do a recut of this film where every time there's a song, it's actually replaced by an ABBA song.
Yeah, that worked really well.
Oh,
Yeah. So that scene
But
where
Mamma
like
Mia does already exist.
it would just be Mamma Mia, but that scene where we sat at the party, everyone's in slow motion with all the women with their breasts out, basically. I just like the idea of that. I'd be like, "You can dance, you
You
can
can
jive,
jive."
having the time of your..." Anyway,
Yeah.
we can't afford that song either. So definitely can't afford Dancing Queen.
Sorry, I could cause lots of issues with all my singing. Sorry.
That's quite alright.
It's all right. If we get hit by some kind of fine, then we'll pass it on to you. It's all right. We don't mind.
Yeah.
Don't mind if you pay for us.
So if you have any sequel ideas for Garden State or any films we've done in the past, get in touch with us. We are Beyond the Box Set. You can find us at beyondtheboxset.com. Our podcast is available on all good podcasting platforms, including iTunes, Stitcher, Acast, Podbean, and Spotify now. If you are a fan of the show and would like to get in touch, you can find us on all forms of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Beyond the Box Set. And if you really like the show, please consider either subscribing, leaving us a review, or supporting us on Patreon for access to all of our exclusive additional content. So next week, what's happening, Harry?
Okay, next week is a bit of a special week. It's another guest episode, I guess. You and me are actually travelling up to Glasgow.
It's a podcast crossover, I would say.
It's a podcast crossover episode. We're going to appear on their podcast, and they're going to appear on ours. They're called What You Talking About.
What You're Talking About, cool.
But if you want to search for it, it's actually spelt with a Scottish accent.
Can you pronounce it in a Scottish accent?
What You Talking About?
Very good.
That's my best attempt. I'm not going to do it again.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we're going to guest on their show, and we're going to talk about The Room on their podcast.
Oh, great. A film that we've actually covered on this show.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good sort of point of entry for every podcast to...
Definitely. It's a rite of passage.
Rite of passage, that's what I was looking for,
Amazing, amazing film.
Neither of those two have actually seen it before, so I'm looking forward to... I know! So I'm looking forward to just hearing their reactions and everything.
But that's going to be on their show, right?
That's going to be on their show.
We're not doing a second episode of The Room here. We're going to guest on their show for The Room.
Correct.
So what are we doing? Because we're going to have them on our show as well, right?
Yes, they're going to come on our show, and they've chosen a film. And John, you're not going to like this. Louise, you're going to be thankful you're not on this episode.
Okay.
Now, also, this episode is coming out, I think, March 2nd, which is just before the Oscars happen.
Okay.
So I wanted to do an Oscars film.
Okay.
And without actually communicating with it, they chose a film from last year's Oscars.
Oh, dear God. Is it
So
La La
next week
Land?
we're doing La La Land.
Hooray.
I've never seen it, but
You know-
you mentioned it on your roundup of the year, and you really weren't selling it to me, guys. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I'm going to avoid that whitewash.
It's a difficult film for us to sell, I'll be honest.
Great, so tune in next week for La La Land. Thank you, Louise, for coming on and being a fabulous
It's been
guest.
an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to listen to myself back.
So, is there anything you'd like to plug while you're here?
Yes, you can find my boyfriend's band, Eat Defeat, on Spotify and iTunes.
Yeah, they're really good. They're a really good punk band. They almost wrote our theme tune, but then they didn't have time. So,
AKA, my boyfriend's really lazy, so...
if you're into punk music, I can vouch they're a very good band. They're very successful. They recently did a successful tour of Japan, so they're global.
It's very sweet of you to
So
plug
do
your
something
boyfriend
Jimmy
over
first,
yourself.
yeah.
Well, yeah, why not? I mean, like, one guy was, like, plugging his window cleaning business. So, like...
It was a little niche, but...
I don't want to, so...
Well, thank you, Louise. Thank you, Harry. I don't
You're
often thank you.
You look very confused then when you said it.
I did, yeah. I was like, why am I doing this? So yeah, join us next week for a podcast crossover and La La Land.
Yeah.
See you then.
Be on the box set!
This is love. This is love.